But the big story of this campaign, other than, of course, the sizable swing against the government in Bill Shorten's favour, has very much been the Nationals and the fact that not only if they hold Capricornia will they have held all their seats, but they will actually pick up a seat in net terms for grabbing that one out of Victoria against the Liberal Party with the retirement of Sharman Stone. This would mean that the Nationals would get an extra spot in Cabinet. It would mean that extraordinarily, not only has the Deputy Prime Minister, Barnaby Joyce, managed to stave off the threat from Tony Windsor in his own backyard, but to increase their total share of seats at the election off the back of what was a landslide victory for the coalition in 2013 really does mean that the Nationals, Barnaby Joyce, have saved the political bacon of the Prime Minister, Tony Abbott. Our special guest on Sunday Agenda is the Leader of the Nationals and the Deputy PM, Barnaby Joyce. He will join us live from his electorate of New England very shortly. But first, let me welcome to the program, as I do each week, Editor-at-Large at The Australian, Paul Kelly. Thanks very much for your company. What does this result mean for the coalition, in your view?
Well, Malcolm Turnbull has won the election. He's survived. As you've indicated, Peter, Turnbull should have majority government in his own right and avoid minority government. That's a critical point. Minority government, in my view, would be a poisoned chalice. I think Turnbull's got a chance, perhaps a good chance of getting 77 seats. If that's the case, he should be able to govern for the next 3 years, although the Senate will be very difficult. In my view, though, there are many lessons from this election campaign for Malcolm Turnbull to learn, and he does need to change the way that he governs. The first task is internal unity. Turnbull must channel John Howard. He must see the government as embodying both the Liberal and the Conservative traditions. He needs to reach out to the Conservatives and do it in a genuine way and bind the divisions in the government and keep the Liberal Party together. Secondly, Turnbull needs to rethink the way he talks about the economy. He campaigned for 8 weeks on the economy and he failed to make it the major issue. He's not cutting through in those areas of the country where there are economic difficulties: Tasmania, South Australia, regional Queensland and Western Sydney. He is seen as too much of an elitist, and in economic terms he must reach out and win the votes of the Howard battlers. Next, he needs to address the Medicare issue. As far as I'm concerned, this debate is over. Labor won it. Turnbull's got to spend the next 3 years convincing the community that the government is committed to Medicare. And finally, Turnbull needs to become more aggressive. He needs to draw the distinction a lot more sharply in values terms between the Labor Party and the Liberal Party. So all up, the Prime Minister has got a lot of challenges.
Well, you talked about the challenges for the Prime Minister, but what does this result mean for Labor after how they went on Saturday night?
Bill Shorten looked and sounded like a winner this week. He went around the country congratulating people on how they'd voted. And of course, in a sense, Shorten is a winner. There were whispers in the course of the election campaign that his leadership might be in trouble, but the better-than-expected result will consolidate Shorten's leadership, and he's in an excellent position now to take Labor to the next election. I think Shorten out-campaigned and outgunned the government in this election. He had more energy than the Prime Minister. He waged a more aggressive campaign. He conducted the ideological offensive. He was rewarded for that. He took the Labor Party significantly to the left, waged a populist campaign, and all that worked. Shorten has now signalled that he'll give Malcolm Turnbull no quarter in the new parliament. He says that Turnbull has no authority, no mandate. I think Shorten will now channel Tony Abbott from 2010. He's got Turnbull down and he wants to ensure that Turnbull can't get back up. Finally, however, Labor needs to recognise there's nothing inevitable about it winning the next election. Its problem is economic policy. Over the next 3 years, the economic challenge of this country will only deepen. The AAA credit rating is in danger. Labor needs to rethink and revise its economic policy. If it goes to the next election with a problem on economic credibility, then it may find the same result. It gets close, but it doesn't